Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about first-time home buyers. And this is a surprising statistic. Now, when we get this data, sometimes we're not sure because we will get reports of information from different sources. Sometimes they don't exactly match. Okay. But this was something we got from Realtor.com. No, it was Zillow.
Zillow.
It was a Zillow report. Okay. And we're going to start with the chart and talk about it. First-time home buyers. Okay, so this chart shows the share of buyers who bought for the first time. Starts back in 2018. The reason it doesn't go before that is because Zillow claims they weren't grabbing data.
Right.
Now, remember, the A in Zillow stands for accuracy. This may not be super accurate, but we're just going to use this to talk about it.
Right. So, I don't know how accurate their particular numbers are. I would wager that the trend is certainly accurate.
Okay, so let's jump in here because we've got some data that does sort of back this up, and I think this is going to increase. I think this trend is going to increase. Okay, you can see that the 2018, 19, 20 was in the 40-something%. 2021 dropped to 37%. Juana, that was a humongous year for institutional buyers and other investors. We picked up another investment property, right? So we're not a first-time home buyer.
No. So there was a lot of competition in the marketplace at that point.
Okay.
Okay. So you had institutional investors, you had regular buyers. So if you had cash or if you had a lot of cash, you were able to purchase a property. If you needed down payment assistance, if you needed closing costs, if you didn't have a lot of cash, if your loan was less than a slam dunk, then probably sellers would pass on your offer and would go with someone else's.
Yeah. What's interesting is 2023, even though the year is not over, 50%, half of all buyers, this is the first time they've ever bought a house.
Right. So for those people who say, well, it's not a good time to buy a house, well, these people clearly feel differently. And you may say, well, why would they feel differently? So let us kind of discuss that for a moment, right? So maybe they feel differently because they've been tenants all their lives and they have reached a point where they have sufficient savings, right, to put down for a down payment. They have seen their rents go up at a much faster pace than they would have liked or anticipated. So they'd like to put an end to that. And of course, they're also getting to that point in their lives where they're nesting.
Okay, I'm going to read this. This is a quote. Juana actually got some of this information exactly right from the quote. Okay, with higher rates spurring widespread rate lock among homeowners, first-time home buyers are facing surging rents. The cost of renting has risen much more in the last 2 years than any prior 2-year period in our data, Tucker says. He's the chief economist for Zillow. And there's an unusually large number of Americans in their early to mid-30s right now, the peak home buying age. Juana, the millennials are the children of the boomers. The boomers are not dying in huge numbers. They're the silent generation or the oldest population that are dying. Boomers are going to be around for a while. The youngest boomers are in their late 50s, right? So they're still going to be around for a few years. These millennials, there is this massive amount of potential home buyers moving through the pipeline, waiting to jump on deals. We have demographically, we know the country's growing at about 2 million people a year. We're not even building 1 million houses a year, so we're way under building, right? And we've got this massive group of millennials in the prime buying age that are tired of rising rents, and they've been saving, like you said, and they're just like jumping out there. And we know this because we've had a bunch of people come to us in this age group that have bought their very first house. I'm telling you, in Vegas, where a median home is probably in the 4-something, we're seeing $700,000-$800,000 home purchases, high income, 2 incomes, like no kids, and we're not really that worried about interest rates because we make a lot of money and we saved and we have a big chunk of money for down payment. So.
Right. So this is a generation that has been very responsible with money. They've been saving, they've been earning, and like Todd said, they tend to have 2 incomes, no kids. So because of that, they are looking at a home purchase as a place to live and also an investment. They are much more financially literate than a lot of previous generations. And all of this plays into their choice to purchase a home. And these homes are not necessarily what you would define as an entry-level home. They are, at the very least, middle of the road homes. So it's an interesting change in that first-time home buyer demographic.
Okay, here's the other thing that we found was very interesting. High-priced home sales are cooling slower. Okay, key stats: sales of the most expensive third of homes, so the top third, have fallen less since last year than sales of the bottom tier home in 28 of the 50 largest metro areas. So the number of sales are shrinking because inventory is shrinking, but they're not shrinking at the top third of that as fast. There's still more activity in that demographic.
Right. So this is not about price, it's about number of transactions, right?
Right.
So the important thing to keep in mind about that top 1/3 of the market is that top 1/3 has a lot of homes that are free and clear, has more disposable income, so they are less subject to the winds of interest rates.
Okay. Nationally, sales of homes in the top third of the price band rose 6% from May to June. This was from a few months ago. While sales of homes in the least expensive market tier dropped 2%. The top tier of homes have maintained a slim advantage of monthly sales growth since February, but the gap widened in May and June.
Mm-hmm.
This surprised me a little bit because we always talk about this thing so median sale price is kind of a number that a lot of people like to go with. There's a huge problem with median sale price, and here's the big problem. Let's say you have 3 houses for sale, and one's 500, one's 400, and one's 300. The median is the middle number, so it's 400. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say the 500 doesn't sell. The next year, but the 400 and 300 sell, and then somebody sells their $200,000 house. Well, even though the 400 sold for 400 and the 300 sold for 300, the median is now 300. Mm-hmm. So because of the shift of where homes are selling has changed, home prices appear to be dropping when they're not. We experienced that here in Vegas where it looked like home prices fell maybe like 8%, but they didn't really fall 8%. What happened was we had a period of a few months where the higher end homes sold less and there was more churn at the bottom, more home sales at the bottom. We have the opposite of that going on now in Vegas, right? Home prices have gone up, and like Lana mentioned, it's because there's more sales happening in the higher end. Right. And so the median changes and the price per square foot goes up because bigger homes sell for more money.
Right. And part of the reason for that is because, remember I said that the homes in the top 1/3 are less influenced by interest rates because more of those homes tend to be free and clear than in other segments of the market, except perhaps with the very low end where they might be investor homes and those might be free and clear. But I think you have a bigger mix in that than you do in the higher end.
I'm going to throw complete opinion into this. Most of what we do is opinion, of course, but we back it up with the data.
We back it up with really cool charts and graphs.
That's charts and graphs. We just passed 2 million total views on our videos. That was very cool. Almost 10,000 subscribers. So subscribe, and maybe we'll have a special thing for when we get the 10,000 subscriber. Okay, people in the upper third are more financially mobile and better off. So they are more likely to be buying and selling, moving homes or moving markets or whatever, whenever they want, really, right? Investors, we have represented a lot of investors, and we know a lot of investors. Nobody is selling their investment property. Investment properties tend to be the middle market and then below the middle market, like lower than the median, right around the median, right? And they're all telling us the same thing. We're not interested. We want to keep the house and we want to keep getting rent from it, and we don't even know what we would do with the cash, but we're not getting rid of the house. Forget it. We're not selling it. Okay, the other thing too is you have people in the bottom and middle of the market who are financially trapped because of the interest rate. Want to tell them why that is?
So people are in this position, right, where they have their home and they've got their 2-3% interest rate, and in order for them to buy something else, they're going to be selling this house and buying the new place. So now the new place is going to be at 7%, give or take, interest, And so even if they were to buy straight across, right, sell for say 500,000 and buy for 500,000, their payment on their new house, which is an identical value and price as the house that they sold, is going to be substantially more because of the interest rates. So they're just not incentivized to do that. It's like, why would I even want to trade straight across? Even if I were to downsize, my mortgage rate would be higher. That doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of where they are. So I think that those people are stuck, and they're going to remain stuck until they save enough money to go to the new place, and they probably won't sell the existing place. I think the number of people that will sell and then buy is going to be substantially diminished for a very long time because they have these really super low interest rates.
Completely anecdotal. We get a lot of people who call and say, hey, I want to come there to move or buy an investment property. When they say they want to move here, first thing I always ask them is, do you have a house in another market you have to sell? Because I'm trying to find out two things. One is, can I refer an agent to them in that market? The second thing is, I need to know if they have what their timeline is, and then if they need the cash, right? What they're telling me almost exclusively is, yeah, but my payment's $1,800 a month, and I can get $3,500 a month in rent from it. So even though I'm living in it now, I think I'm going to keep it as a rental because I don't really need the cash to buy the next house, but I'm going to just take the cash flow from it. It's anecdotal information, but I'm hearing a lot more of that. So I think you're right. I think people are not, they feel like with the cost of borrowing money at basically 6% or 7% or, car loan, home loan, everything's even more. Credit card, way more, right? The fact that they borrowed money and they're paying off some 2% something loan is not worth extinguishing.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing is a prediction. This is my prediction. My prediction is over the next year or two that we have a pent-up demand of first-time home buyers who are trying to buy. As more inventory comes on the market, does not accumulate, that they come with their cash and their high incomes and they buy it. It's going to squeeze out a lot of people, unfortunately, because we know there's a lot of people in expensive markets that are saying, hey, I can't buy because I just, home prices are too high. They're being buoyed because people are coming in, and that we see the number of first-time home buyers actually increasing over the next couple years. That's my prediction for the next 2 years. And then I'm not saying home prices are going to go higher, but I don't see them dropping because all the risk is lower interest rate and more buyers. I don't see any really negative things there's nothing that's going to cause a massive homes to hit the market that would potentially push down prices.
Right.
That's my prediction.
So even with volatility in equities, volatility maybe in municipal bonds or anything else, those are not things that tend to have any kind of significant effect on real estate, because real estate is about homes, it's about where people live, and everybody needs to live somewhere. So those prophets of doom out there.
The housing market hypochondriacs.
Yes.
We've filed for a trademark, copyright for that name. Anytime you say it, we get $10, and if you think it, we get $5.
There you go.
Yep.
And I appreciate their gloom and doom. I think it's there's a place for it. I'm not sure where that place is, but there's a place for it.
I know.
Our data does not support that. So our data supports a stable real estate market. Our data supports a real estate market that is going to probably increase, not necessarily as spectacularly as it has in the last few years, but it will increase because the diminished inventory will remain and the buyer demand will also continue. So that's what we think. What do you think? Tell us where you're watching from and what you think. We appreciate everybody's opinion. You don't have to agree with us. Remember to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video. Like the video. Did I say that? Like it twice. Like it 3 times.
Like it 3 times.
There you go.
No, because if they click like again, I think it goes away.
Okay.
So you have to like it an odd number of times.
There you go. Be odd and like it an odd number of times.
Yeah. And subscribe.
And subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.